30 years ago, if you would have told someone that in 2024, we would have self-driving cars, robots that deliver food, and AI that answer all your questions, they would have called you nuts. Today, not only do we have all these things, but most people couldn't picture a world without it. In 2024, it's becoming more and more obvious that we're pushing headfirst into this new digital world. Our civilization will experience technology's full potential, and as time goes by, we will become even closer to technology, maybe even becoming one with technology. While many people are excited about what the future holds, they seem to be oblivious to what consequences come with this digital world. While technology is making life easier in many ways, it comes at the price of losing all privacy, humanity, and being even more controlled. We once warned the world about a dystopian future, but now we might just be living in one. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Thank you for joining me for this Truth Talk podcast episode. I'm back here with Taco.
Hey, what's up everyone?
In today's episode, we will be talking about the Apple Vision Pro. Let's get right into it. On February 2nd, Apple finally made their Apple Vision Pro augmented reality goggles available for purchase. At a whopping price of $3,500, it was expected that few would actually buy them. But that wasn't the case at all, as immediately hordes of people ran to get their hands on it. All over social media, videos of people walking around wearing the goggles are going viral, and it shows us a glimpse of what our world is becoming. At first, I thought it was a parody or a joke, but then I started to see that it was so many people and knew that this was no parody. If you have been on TikTok or Instagram in recent days, it's almost impossible to avoid seeing a video about these goggles. While most people look at these goggles as just the cool new tech everyone wants, I see the changes this technology is about to bring to the world, and I am truly worried. Believe it or not, these goggles are going to change the world just like the iPhone did all those years back. Back in the year 2007, Steve Jobs was standing on a stage presenting the new technology that he knew would change the world forever. The iPhone was the first official smartphone of its kind, and since its release, the world has never been the same. This was no accident. The iPhone was a crucial part of the plans for the new world the elite are building, and it led to the world we're living today. Believe it or not, this entire story goes all the way back to the beginning of time. We have all heard the story of Adam and Eve, the first two people God created. Adam and Eve were living in a paradise on earth called the Garden of Eden. God, when he created Adam and Eve, gave them just one rule. While they may eat from all the trees in the garden, they may not eat the fruit from the tree of good and evil, telling them that if they did, they would surely die. Unfortunately for Adam, Eve would be tricked by the serpent into biting the fruit after the serpent promised her God was lying and ensuring her she wouldn't die if she ate from the fruit. Instead, the serpent promised her that if she ate from the fruit, she would be like a god, knowing good and evil, and God just wanted to keep her from being on his level. Eve, blinded with temptation, ate the fruit and then convinced Adam to do the same, and shortly after, God found out. God, disappointed with his creation, knew he had no choice but to cast humanity out of the Garden of Eden, as they had corrupted the innocence of humanity and must face the one thing God was trying to keep them from: death. Thousands of years later, humanity is walking around with a device in their hands that knows the knowledge of good and evil, a device that is stamped with a symbol of a bitten fruit on the back of it. Humanity was cursed and removed from the Garden of Eden because they became blinded with the idea of becoming a god. The iPhone put all the knowledge of the world that's found on the internet right on a device you can hold in your hand. The Apple Vision Pro wants to put that technology directly in your face, and we all know what's next after this: merging with technology. Something that Elon Musk is already working on making a reality with his Neuralink project. The smartphone was always a part of the plan to bring in this new world, a new digital world where the elite have all the control and keep you as tamed as possible. Apple has never tried to hide the truth. They put the symbol of the bitten fruit right on the back of your device. And all the way back when Steve Jobs introduced the device, he let the world know it was just like magic. Now, almost 20 years later, Apple CEO said this about their Pro goggles: "The era of spatial computing has arrived. Apple's Vision Pro is the most advanced consumer electronics device ever created. Its revolutionary and magical user interface will redefine how we connect, create, and explore." They knew this was coming the whole time because they planned for it and worked towards it. Just how the serpent convinced Adam and Eve to bite the fruit, Apple is convincing the world to do the same. They are pushing us out of the world God created and into the digital world they have created for us. And sadly, most people aren't even realizing it. We are no longer heading into a dystopian future. We are living in one. The more that time goes by, the more it seems we're in the future we once feared. The way people are seen in this video walking around outside with these Apple goggles is a sign of what's unfolding. The merge between man and machine is happening right in front of us, and the world is doing nothing to stop it. You might be thinking it's not that serious, it's not like everyone is going to get them. Well, maybe not today, but in the near future, these things will be normal, and they won't just be goggles. We all remember when Apple released the iPhone that changed society forever. At first, barely anyone had one. It was too expensive and seen as an unneeded luxury technology. Fast forward just a few years later, not only did everyone have one, but if you didn't, you were almost seen as an outcast. It's the same thing that's going to happen with these goggles. And then with Elon Musk's Neuralink. This Apple Vision is the predecessor for what Elon Musk is creating with the Neuralink chip. While right now Elon is claiming the chip is for disabled people, he already has expressed his future plans for the technology. He is trying to create a future where the Neuralink is just like having an iPhone and everyone would have one. The video of the people walking around using these goggles is going to be our future. Soon, these goggles and then the Neuralink would be normal just like using an iPhone.
Yeah, that's exactly how technology works. It starts out as this new incredible technology that most people can't afford, and then they make it affordable one way or another. Just like we saw with TVs. If you recall back in the day, TVs were rare. Not everyone had a TV in the house, especially when they came out with like flat screen TVs and high definition TVs. And now almost every home in America has a 4K television. And we know why that is, because it's one of the main sources for manipulation used by the elite. We see that with a lot of the TV shows that are on TV these days. What's crazy though is I saw that video you were talking about, showing those people walking around using the Apple Vision Pro in their everyday lives, going on about their day. It looked like it was ripped straight out of a Simpsons episode. And we all know the Simpsons don't predict the future, but the creators are Freemasons who know the plans for the future, and that's why they're able to put it in the show. But the Simpsons episode is called Friends and Family, and it shows us this again. In that episode, there's a scene where everyone is shown walking around wearing what looks to be the exact same goggles like the Apple Vision Pro ones. I found this very interesting though, because the design seems very, very similar to the Apple Vision Pro. And the way people are interacting with it now in the real world looks very similar to how the way the characters in The Simpsons were shown using it. I'd been following the Apple Vision Pro for a while, seeing what it was going to be with, but I never thought that it would have the impact it's having now, where people are literally walking around the street with this on, crossing the street, going to stores, interacting with other humans through this virtual space. I mean, it blows my mind.
Yeah, and to me, it just shows that we're really being pushed into this digital world. I see the future already because we are in that future. What we're seeing now is the prototype of what our near future is going to look like. And I'm not talking about 30, 40 years from now. I feel like within the next 5 to 10 years, this will be normal. And this will be part of our day-to-day lives. They're already showing us how people are wearing them in the train, wearing them walking down the street, wearing them in their homes while they're just doing what they got to do. And think about this. We already have our phones that are between us. We already spend so much time and we barely have enough time for each other. Imagine when we put these goggles on and we're in this world, this digital world, where we have these goggles on that further separates everyone and has everyone stuck in their own heads. And that's exactly what they're trying to build. They are trying to divide us. They're trying to separate us. They're trying to have us live in this digital world that they created, because all it is going to provide these people is more control over our lives. They're going to be able to know more and more about us, because with this piece of technology, just like they're planning on with Neuralink, it's going to be sending back all our data back to these people that own these devices and these apps. And that's exactly their plan. They want to know everything about us. They want to know how to manipulate us. And we're giving them the keys to our inner thoughts when we put these things on, especially once we start using the Neuralink, you know? One thing for sure, though, people cannot deny that The Simpsons, for some reason, seems to have the ability to know the future. And like I've said before, I don't think they're fortune tellers. I don't think that they're using a crystal ball and seeing what's going to happen. I believe that these are just the Masonic plans that have been in motion for centuries. And they've been showing us these plans through their movies, through their TV shows like The Simpsons. This technology, this exact same technology, we saw years back in one of Hollywood's productions. You know, in many of Hollywood's productions, many of Hollywood's movies showed this exact same technology. They were planning this. They were already creating this, and this is exactly what they wanted.
Yeah, like I said, and The Simpsons aren't really the only show. We see other shows throughout the past that have kind of touched on topics like this. We know the show Black Mirror, for example, had an episode that touched on this, where everyone had technology that kind of augmented their reality. And I believe the episode I'm referring to, I can't remember the name of it right now. The episode I'm referring to is people had an implant inside of them that recorded all their memories and allowed authorities to have them play it back whenever they needed to. And I feel like, in a way, this might be this in its infancy, you know? I mean, some might say this is evolution of the human species, but are we evolving, or are we being herded in the direction by the elites? Are they pointing us where they want us to go? And we think we have the illusion of free will. It's becoming obvious. They're pushing us into a virtual world. You're seeing more and more people doing less social interactions. You have people going out into stores, going out into public places wearing these goggles, interacting with people through these goggles. It's not the same. It's not physical interaction anymore. It's a social interaction through an augmented reality. One thing that's very manipulative, in my opinion, with these companies is that the way they roll out this technology, they present it as the next greatest thing. You mentioned it earlier with the iPhone. When the original iPhone came out, it was the most innovative thing that everyone had to have. And now the majority of people have an iPhone these days. And I feel like we're seeing this happening with this Vision Pro goggles. If you ask me, I think the true intention behind this technology is what the intentions have always been by the shadowy elites. It's to manipulate and to control in one way, shape, or form what we see, what we do, and how we do those things. And I will agree with you. It does seem more and more like we're living in a futuristic movie.
Yeah, it looks like we're the future that was shown in Back to the Future, or even like in the movie Ready Player One. You know, I believe these are the plans that they had for us for a very long time, and they're unfolding now. And I find the timing interesting because all of this started happening after 2020. All of this excessive push to the virtual world, all the change, everything that's being pushed upon us, it started to ramp up after 2020. And I believe that 2020 had a spiritual value that has gone unseen by most of the world. They think that it was just associated with that sickness, but they don't realize that it was the rebirth of the world. The new world was beginning, the start of what they have been creating for years, what they have birthed, the Masonic world that they wanted. And we're seeing it happen. We're seeing it in full fruition. It's all unfolding in front of our faces. Not only the way people are thinking nowadays, not only the way people are carrying themselves nowadays, but now the technology that's going to be accepted, the technology that's going to become normal, that's going to rip us away from the real world, that's going to put us in a world created by the elite to further manipulate us and separate us further away from God, further away from our family, further away from the real world that they're destroying in front of us. This is how they're going to keep us further distracted while they do whatever they want and we question nothing. This is how we're going to lose touch of reality and lose touch of ourselves because we're going to be trapped in this digital world. And that's what they want. Everyone who opens their eyes and looks around notices how bad things are right now. You have to blind yourself not to see. And that's why they're giving us these goggles. That's why they're telling you to wear these goggles. And that's where you're going to see all the big influencers promoting them and all the tech people promoting them because that's what they want. They're using them to push this agenda. They're taking us into this new world. And unfortunately, most people are going to be open to it. And not just open to it, but happy for it, you know? Well, I'm going to end it here, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for stopping by. Before you guys go, I just wanted to ask you guys to please leave a like and a comment below so that this video can get recommended to others. I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Stay safe.